connected to our friends in this, and you don't need to look that far to see. In an instant, it's all rushing by. You risk it all to set.
Hello everyone, this is Pendy.
And this is Paul, also known as EastX Twitch.
Hey Paul, I've heard you've been a little down in the dumps lately.
Well, kinda. I've had all these car troubles recently. Tact was canceled, and we recently lost Akira Toriyama, bless his soul.
That's a shame indeed, but don't worry, I've got just the thing for you. It's a special cocktail I came up with called Dark Pendy Aura. You have to drink it out of this special chalice I made.
Huh, that sounds highly suspect, but I'll try anything once. Ah! What's this feeling? Why do I have this urge to serve you in any way possible? Ah!
That's right, Paul. You're under my control now. Tell me your social security number. Put me in your will. Lose to me whenever we play Street Fighter 6 together.
Street Fighter 6? Lose? No, my pride. I can't do that. Ah!
Oh, I guess that was too much for him. He seems to have died from his internal struggle. Ah! Something grabbed my leg.
It's me, you fool. My EastX power was able to grow stronger and overcome your dark Pendy aura.
Ah, damn. Well, it was worth a shot, I guess. Now I'll just have to beat you in Street Fighter 6 the old-fashioned way. Though, can I still have your social security number for, reasons?
Let me think. No! And with that out of the way, let's go ahead and welcome our audience to Alltrades DQ Media Abbey, a Slime Time podcast spinoff where we review various Dragon Quest media, including manga and anime.
We are currently reviewing the 2020 Dragon Quest The Adventure of Dai anime, and after that, we'll discuss more Dai news. So let's trash it up.
Yeah, let's start with episode 65, The Dark Hyuncle. In this episode, Crocodile and Hyuncle have been put on crosses in preparation for their execution. Mistfern once again offers Hyuncle a way out by having him drink his dark aura. Ew. This dark aura will heal Hyuncle, but also make him a slave to Mistfern. Hyuncle drinks the dark aura and seems to be taken over. Mistfern then directs him to execute Crocodile. That's not good. Hyuncle struggles and keels over, seemingly dead from the struggle between the dark and light auras inside him. That's tough. However, it's his dark side that has been stamped out, and he quickly recovers with his light side even stronger than before. Hyuncle blasts Mistfern aside, and then Dai and the other disciples of Yvonne blast through the ground, having tunneled there from below. The rest of the hero's army, including Nova, Lon Baruch, and the Beast King Commandos, emerges from their hiding spots in the surrounding caverns, taking on Mistfern's legion of restless armors. Mistfern tries to paralyze Dai and his friends with his decimation field, the jerk, but Lon Baruch interrupts him, issuing a direct challenge just as the episode ends.
You know, I thought Crocodile yelling, "No!" when Hyuncle drinks the dark aura was a little overdramatic, even for this show, but I was on board with the rest of the episode. I guess it gave me too many Star Wars vibes from when they edited in that shot of Vader yelling, "No!"
No!
Not a fan of that. But anyways, the way they depicted Hyuncle's transformation was really impressive, and I like that his hair turned black in the process. Everything looked amazing. When he eventually recovered, I thought it was really cool that he threw the line about being able to take out Mistfern, like plucking a flower from its stem, back in Mistfern's face from when Mistfern used that line earlier in the episode. It was fun to see everyone get involved with saving Crocodile and starting the battle against the Shadow Legion. Seeing Hyuncle's increased power that easily allows him to take out those restless armors with his bare hands was exciting to see. I also really appreciated Popp's very human response to Hyuncle's attempt at getting his pendant to glow. You know, it's no secret he's never been a fan of Hyuncle due to his jealousy, and it was just an honest response from him. However, as he has grown so much as a character, he immediately puts that thought to the side and wishes for the greater good of the group. My absolute favorite moment of this show, however, was at the very end when Lon Baruch interrupts Mistfern's decimation field with his sword. It's one of my favorite moments in the show because it puts Mistfern in his place in such a fun way. I also never expected Lon Baruch to be someone who fought in this show, so it's really exciting to see him throw down in such a powerful way. It was a perfect way to end the episode.
Yeah, go Lon Baruch. But you know, throughout much of this episode, I was frustrated because the heroes weren't rescuing Crocodile and Hyuncle like they were supposed to do. They organized this big rescue force, and then they would have just sit there and let at least one of the hostages get killed. I mean, that's what they're doing. They're just waiting. They're just lucky that Hyunkel is able to overcome the dark aura. I mean, 9 minutes in, the show does acknowledge the hero's delay by having Lon Baruch stop Nova from intervening. Apparently, Dai's team is deliberately letting Hyunkel's gambit play out. That seems more like an excuse than a wise strategy to me.
Yeah, with that one, they did actually have Merla say that, oh, I knew that was what was really going on. And I think that she even was able to tell that he hadn't actually really died as well. So that's why they didn't pop up right away. But I understand that side of it.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, they're there to rescue them, right? So why would you get there to rescue them and be like, you know what, let's just wait a while and see what happens?
They trust their friend.
Apparently so. All that said, I do like how Crocodile is able to calm himself by remembering how Hyunkel asked him to trust him. It's like he believes in his bro. Good thing. And yeah, I agree that Lon Baruch joining in right at the end is a super cool moment. It's nice to have a good Darkling involved in the story rather than if they had just all been portrayed as homogeneously evil.
Yes, it was a nice part of the story that they had him switch sides, basically. Or maybe he never was really with that side at all, and he just wanted to make some powerful weapons, and that was it. It
seems that way.
Yeah. So next we've got episode 66, The 5 Colors of Light. After Lon Baruch challenges Miss Fern in the last episode, the pair now faces off in dramatic fashion. During their fight, we get a flashback to a young Lon Baruch in the company of Dark King Vern. Hey, Vern! Having completed Dark King Vern's ultimate weapon, Baruch feels that he now must move on. He's not interested in Vern's ultimate goal. King Vern recognizes that not only is Lon Baruch the ultimate blacksmith, he's also a consummate warrior. Vern offers him command of his armies, but Baruch turns down the offer, enraging Miss Fern. As Lon Baruch makes his way out of the palace, Miss Fern attacks and slashes Baruch in the face, giving him the cross-shaped scars we now see him have in the present. Baruch deliberately takes the blow, feeling that he deserves it for turning down King Vern. In that moment, though, Lon Baruch also points his sword directly at Miss Fern's face and warns against attacking him again. Returning to the present, the disciples of Avon begin to make their insignia of Avon pendants glow in order to amplify Leona's Kuglimmer spell. While they start to power up, Zabora arrives to support Miss Fern. The Mystic Bishop blasts open the sides of the surrounding cliffs, revealing gigantic magic cylinders full of powerful monsters directly from the underworld. We end the episode with Popp trying his best to get his pendant to glow, but to no avail. Are our heroes doomed, or will Popp find a way to make his insignia glow?
I wonder. The Lon Baruch flashback provides some valuable insights into his character. When he first appeared in the show, I expected him to be nothing more than a side character who helps the heroes solve problems once or twice, but now the show is giving him development and backstory. That's rad. The coolest part of the flashback, though, has to be the Darkling babes that were sitting on the couch with Lon Baruch. Dark King Vern sure knows how to wine and dine somebody, baby. Although they're actually not very well drawn, but they're only kind of seen in passing, so I guess that's okay. This is the first evidence that Darklings have women, though. I wonder if we'll get to know more about their culture as the story progresses. Seems unlikely. As the battle continues in the present, we get a fun sequence with the Beast King commandos. When Crocodile joins them, Chu has them all salute him, and it's just the cutest thing. Crocodile also takes a brief moment to save Old Man Baduk. It's always nice to see the camaraderie between those two guys. Hyunkel and Amy get an interaction here, which I quite enjoyed. I am all about those two, even though it's still unclear whether Hyunkel will actually return Amy's affections. Maybe, maybe not. Zaboera arriving to interfere at the end is proof that the heroes are taking too long to cast their Kuglimmer spell. It's largely Popp's fault, which will be driven home in the next episode.
Yeah, it was a great episode of seeing a lot of the side characters get their due with some nice moments in this battle, as you pointed out. It's also great to see Flora actually battle some more enemies instead of just kind of standing around and lobbing a couple of frizz spells like she did in the Cave of Trials. Using her whip to grab the enemy's sword and whip it around the way that she did in the episode was very cool. And if you don't know what's coming in the future, you might not realize that Lon Baruch's conversation with Miss Fern about his voice was a nice bit of foreshadowing. No spoilers yet, of course. During the Dark King Vern flashback, I couldn't help but chuckle at the English voice acting here for the dub. I like how his voice has this very deep overpronunciation of certain vowels, but sometimes he overdoes it, especially in this episode, in particular when he says the word regard, and it just keeps going. I thought, yeah. I know you love that voice actor for him. I thought it was very cool that Lon Varric almost had taken Hadler's spot as leader of his armies. I had forgotten about that part from running through the series the first time. As always, I love to see Dragon Quest-inspired weapons that can produce magic attacks, such as Crocodine's new axe. I love that it even had 2 spell attacks. Not 1, but 2 for the price of 1. I don't think any weapons in the Dragon Quest series have 2 off the top of my head. It's usually just 1. I could be wrong. And it's almost like Crocodine now is an armamentalist class. I mean, not quite, because he has no magic power himself, because usually it's a class where they use magic to make their weapon stronger, do like a frizz type slash or what have you, but still similar because of his weapon's multiple abilities that it has now. And those poor weapon covers again that I was joking about before. One gets burned off and then the other ripped to shreds. No respect, I tell you. No respect. So often in anime, characters will unrealistically go on too long within an emotional moment in the middle of battle. I love that Amy starts to do this, but then Leona humorously and sarcastically encourage her to get on with it.
Get on with it. Yes, get on with it.
Oh, I am enjoying this scene.
Get on with it.
A great moment in the episode. Finally, I love seeing the gigantic magic cylinders being used for the surprise Dark Army reinforcements. Sometimes cool concepts like this get used in a story and then they're just kind of forgotten about. I love that the magic cylinders continue to show up from time to time in this series.
Yes, I do like that. And Zabuera even says gush to make the enemies come out, just like at the beginning. Now then, in episode 67, The Perils of the Great Purification Spell, things happen. As Popp dives deeper into despair from not being able to activate his insignia of Avon, Zabuera's underworld monsters converge on the other heroes. Zabuera notices that Popp is struggling to activate his insignia, leaving him vulnerable to attack. The Mystic Bishop hurls a poisonous venom chain at Popp, nearly ending any chance the heroes might have at completing the Coglimmer spell. Merla can sense the attack coming, though. She hurls herself between Popp and the venom chain, taking a fatal wound from the projectile. Popp is confused that Merla would give her life for him, so Leona explains that Merla is in love with him. Before Merla dies, she asks Popp to declare whom she loves, even knowing that it's not her. Somehow that will give her more strength. Popp finally confesses his love for Mom, which ignites his insignia of Avon. This courageous act was long in coming, and it shows that courage was Popp's insignia trait. Merla's death then ignites a new power in Popp. He casts a powerful healing spell. We discover that Popp has now evolved into a sage.
Indeed, this is a very powerful and emotional episode. I'll admit that this even got me a little teary-eyed when Merla sacrifices herself for Popp. It's not so much the sacrifice that got to me, but her talking about her feelings for Popp, her unrequited love, and getting Popp to express his feelings about Mom, even though it's not for her. It was fun to see all the Dragon Quest monsters battling the good guys. Like they've done throughout this new anime series, they've either made most of the monster designs more in line with the Toriyama-style designs and/or color schemes, or switched in newer monsters that weren't even in the original manga or earlier anime adaptation. There are monsters from 4, 5, and I believe I even saw a Face Invader that originates from Dragon Quest Monsters 2. There's also even a blink and you'll miss it appearance of a Bishop Lodja variant called a Necromancer. Wow. Between the great fight moments of the ongoing battle in the field, the emotional punch of Merla's words, and Popp's surprise class change into a sage, there was a lot to take in this episode, and I really loved it.
Yeah, Merla's sacrifice got me teary-eyed as well. Firstly, it wouldn't have been necessary if Popp hadn't dicked around for the whole episode. He is a complete wiener about not being able to use his ability. He should have fully communicated his anxieties from the start, and he should have been more willing to keep trying when the time came. I mean, everyone kept telling him to, and he's like, no, I'm too much of a wiener. I thought Popp had stopped being such a quitter much earlier in the series, but I guess he still carries some of his faults with him. Getting back to Merla, her heroism and selflessness is very touching. The flashbacks of her memories of Popp really twist the knife into our hearts. She even wants to be with someone like him when she's reborn, for goodness sake. Merla's sacrifice has a major impact on selfish Popp, as it should. Popp's transformation at the end is a big moment. For people who don't know, in traditional Dragon Quest games, mages mostly cast attack spells and some utility spells. Priests use healing and fortifying spells. Sage is an advanced vocation that can use powerful attack and healing spells, including Kazing, the high-level resurrection spell. Popp really is moving up up in the world.
He sure is. And in the next episode, episode 68, The Last Challenge. The last episode ended just after Popp transformed into a sage, bursting with healing power. As this episode begins, we learn that Popp managed to cast Kazing and revived Merla. Popp joins his comrades to complete the Koglimmer spell, and then they all zoom up to Dark King Vern's palace. To their surprise, they are greeted by Hadlar and his royal guard. Hadlar casts a spell that transports everyone away to different sections of the palace so that Hadlar and Dai can have one final battle. Dai accepts Hadlar's challenge, and they proceed to duke it out. Meanwhile, Mom, Popp, and Hyuncle each have to face one of the members of Hadlar's royal guard. Mam gets paired with Queen Albinus. She tries to convince Albinus that they should work together to take down King Vern. Hey, Vern! Albinus scoffs at the idea and instead hits Mam head-on with her 1,000-needle attack, ending the episode.
Is this the show's first mention of Kazing?
I think so. I don't know, because they made the big deal about trying to do Zing before, but I don't remember if she had actually mentioned, like, hey, the more powerful version of this is Kazing or something like that. I can't remember.
Yeah, it seems like the first successful casting of it, at least.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, and it's cool that Popp has actually managed to surpass Leona, who can only cast Zing, as we mentioned. Mm-hmm. Also cool is another brief scene with Chu and the Beast King Commandos, who amusingly cheer on the heroes when they successfully cast Koglimmer. By the way, when the heroes get up into Dark King Vern's palace, there's this funny moment of awkwardness. Like, Mom is just looking all weirded out because she now knows that Popp loves her, even though she doesn't seem to love him back. And it's just funny that they have that awkwardness going, but they don't have time to resolve it.
Yeah, they have to get on and go to the battle, and she's like, but I don't know how to feel at this moment.
Yeah, and this is kind of like in real life, it's a common thing for guys to crush on girls and to express their crush and make it awkward. I mean, it can happen both ways, but it's far more common for guys to introduce that awkwardness by doing so. Anyway, getting back to what's going on in the palace, Hadlar's challenge to Dai is ironic and frustrating, since Dai and Hadlar truly share the common enemy of King Vern. Hadlar actually acknowledges this, but he explains that he's dying and fighting Dai is his final wish. Hadlar hasn't become good, like some of us might have hoped for that to eventually happen, but his rivalry with Dai is portrayed as at least somewhat honorable, so at least he's not as mustache-twirlingly evil as he used to be.
Right.
I like that the Royal Guard couldn't transport Leona away, too, even if Dai doesn't allow her to interfere with the duel, so it doesn't make a huge difference that she didn't get transported away. Looking at Albinus, it was pretty clear that she wasn't going to accept Mom's offer of camaraderie. However, Albinus is still a snake, and she deserves to get her big headpiece knocked off.
Yeah, and this is just another episode where so much happened. Popp saves Merla with Kazing. They complete the Koglimmer spell and incapacitate the palace. Dai and Hadlar just absolutely beat the crap out of each other. All the others get set up with one-on-one battles, and Mam gets wrecked. Sneaky Gomei-chan stows away to join Dai once again. Just another jam-packed turn of events. What I love about this episode is that every character has their own challenge they must overcome. Too often in shonen anime, there is an overpowered protagonist that will get in a big fight with the main antagonist, and all the side characters are just left to the sidelines to just react to all of it for an extended period of time. Here, everyone gets their own battle that they must fight. And for the most part, this series is pretty damn good about it. I almost never feel like side characters are wasted. Now that this installment's reviews are out of the way, we have a bit of news in the world of Dai. The Crossblade manga, based on the Dai-themed arcade game of the same name, recently published its final volume.
May it rest in peace. Never again to confuse us with its clunky spelling. Crossblade indeed. Actually spelled X-Ross for people who didn't know. In other news, a fan translation of the Japanese novel, The Adventure of Dai, Each Way, is being worked on by a guy named Eldrick.
It's a book that has 5 short side stories that focus on 5 various characters from The Adventure of Dai. So far, Eldrick has translated the first story. I actually have a copy of this book, so it will be interesting to see what it's all about.
That sounds great. It really does. But are you frustrated like I am that you can't see The Adventure of Dai anime subtitled and dubbed in just one place?
Yeah.
Well, now you can. Half of it anyway. The Adventure of Dai is now on Netflix.
Yes, and you can watch it subbed or dubbed there, though only the first 50 episodes are available. Hopefully they'll drop the rest of them soon.
Yes, I really hope so. I also hope that they finally start selling the remaining 50 dubbed episodes. It makes no sense not to allow people to buy them.
Put that on Vudu and Microsoft Store, you cowards.
Yeah, and maybe even that goofy library app you like like so much.
Yeah, hoopla. Gotta hoopla it up. People can watch it for free if they have a library that supports it. It's great.
Must be nice. And that's all for this episode of Alltrades DQ Media Abbey. If you want to prepare for our next episode, be sure to watch episodes 69 through 72 of the Adventure of Dai anime. You can watch these episodes subtitled on Crunchyroll or dubbed on Hulu.
We're a non-profit podcast. We won't strash your hard-earned gold when we can offer you quality content for free. But if you do have some extra gold that's just completely burning a hole in your wallet, pouch, bottomless bag, treasure chest, or searchable wall sack, and you would like to donate anything to a website that's been supporting Dragon Quest fans for over 25 years, stop by the Dragon's Den by clicking the link in the show notes. There are several ways to support the Den, including the affiliate links that don't cost you anything extra when making other Dragon Quest purchases.
I want to do that. And we even have a Slime Time t-shirt that was designed by our resident artist, Dwayne. See the link for it in the show notes.
And as part of the Slime Time Extended Universe, or STU, you can direct comments or questions for the podcast on Twitter and Instagram at DQ Slime Time.
And you can follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/EastX Come watch me play a variety of games every Saturday, kids.
Join in tons of Dragon Quest discussion at the Dragon's Den forums or Discord and the Dragon Questers Facebook group.
We'd like to thank everyone that made this possible, including Pendy, Woodus, the Dragon's Den, and Akira Toriyama, the original character designer of Dragon Quest. We will miss him.
We sure will. Check out our Slime Time Prime episode about how we celebrate his life and how he affected all of us in the Dragon Quest community. And please like, subscribe, and write a review for the podcast.
We'll catch you later, everybody. Don't hate, appreciate.
Time to zoom on out of here.
I'm no good at keeping it all in perspective. Took all this time to get right. Took all this time to arrive. And back then, I used to loan like a weapon. When I should have known all along, the answer was there all along. If all is right, I can't be right. I know what side I'm on. I'm here for you, so don't confuse just where we all belong. Calling out your name to say I'm with you always. It's nothing harder to do, but you make saying it true. It's true, even when we're close. I know it's easy to forget.
This is slime time! General Flazzard here! Beware my five-finger flares!